September 10th, 2025. 1,000 voices fill an auditorium in Utah as Charlie Kirk, the founder of one of America's most controversial youth movements, stands at the podium. Hours later, news spreads. Kirk has been assassinated, shot from 200 yards away by an unknown assailant in the middle of a public question and answer session. In less than a decade, this once obscure teenager built Turning Point USA. From a high school idea into a force that changed American politics and made himself a lightning rod for both adulation and outrage. How did a young activist's rise lead to a moment that would shake the nation? This is Charlie Kirk, the rise, the movement, the assassination. The answer begins long before that final shot. Charlie Kirk is born in the fall of 1993 in Arlington Heights, Illinois. His parents, both working in business and marketing, build a life in the quiet suburbs of Prospect Heights. Kirk's childhood is marked by routine: public schools, family dinners, Sunday church. But beneath the surface, a restless energy takes hold early. By the time he's a teenager, Kirk is already questioning authority. At Wheeling High School, he becomes known for challenging teachers and pushing back against what he sees as unfair rules. In 2011, cafeteria prices go up without warning. Kirk rallies students to protest, organizing petitions and cornering school board members at public meetings. He argues for transparency, demanding that students have a say in decisions that affect their daily lives. Administrators call him combative, even disruptive. Kirk calls it principle. He writes op-eds for the local paper, then for national outlets like Town Hall, arguing that teachers' unions and bureaucrats care more about power than students. Friends remember him as intense, sometimes obsessive, always ready for a debate. At home, his parents worry that his outspokenness will get him in trouble, but they also see an ambition they can't quite contain. Kirk spends late nights on political blogs, studying campaign strategy, and volunteering for Mark Kirk's Senate run. Not a relative, but a symbolic ally. The campaign gives him a taste of real politics, and he decides he wants more. In his senior year, a chance encounter with Bill Montgomery, a Tea Party activist, changes everything. Montgomery sees Kirk's drive and tells him to think bigger. Kirk listens. By graduation, he's already planning something new, an organization that will take his message beyond the cafeteria and into the national spotlight. June 2012, just days after high school graduation, Charlie Kirk files the incorporation papers for Turning Point USA. He is 18, restless, and convinced that the conservative movement is missing its future. The idea takes shape in late-night phone calls with Bill Montgomery, a retired Tea Party activist who sees promise in Kirk's relentless energy. Montgomery urges him to skip college and focus on building something new. Kirk listens. Together, they sketch out a plan for a national youth organization, one that will challenge what they call the leftist groupthink on college campuses. The first steps are tentative. They need funding, a website, and a mission statement bold enough to attract attention. Montgomery handles the paperwork, making sure everything is legal. Kirk drafts emails to anyone who might help. He spends the summer traveling to conservative conferences, shaking hands, and pitching Turning Point USA to anyone who will listen. At the 2012 Republican National Convention, Kirk corners Foster Friess, a Wyoming investor known for backing upstart conservatives. Friess agrees to write the first check. With seed money in hand, Kirk starts recruiting students, friends from high school, young activists he meets at events, anyone willing to help launch campus chapters. They work out of coffee shops, living rooms, and borrowed office space, driven by the belief that the next political revolution will start with the young. Kirk is relentless, sending hundreds of emails a week, cold calling student leaders, and mapping out a strategy to reach every college in America. Montgomery, twice his age, becomes both mentor and partner, handling logistics and offering advice, but letting Kirk drive the vision. By the end of the year, Turning Point USA is officially a 501c3 nonprofit. Kirk is listed as president, Montgomery as secretary. The organization is small, but the ambition is national. For Kirk, the goal is clear: build a movement that will outlast them both. By the start of 2014, Turning Point USA is moving far beyond borrowed office space and coffee shop meetings. The group's early blueprint is simple: plant a chapter at every major college, train student leaders, and flood campuses with sharp, provocative messaging. Money flows in from donors who want results. Foster Friess opens the door, but soon the Wilkes family and Koch-affiliated philanthropists are sending checks too. Internal emails lay out the targets: hundreds of chapters, thousands of student recruits, and a promise to make conservative activism impossible to ignore. The strategy is relentless. Kirk and his team launched the Big Government Sucks tour, crisscrossing the country in rented vans. They hand out thousands of pocket constitutions, set up tables in student unions, and host debates that draw crowds and cameras. Each event is filmed, clipped, and pushed out on social media, feeding a growing online audience hungry for confrontation. By 2016, TPUSA claims over 1,000 campus chapters. Staff numbers jump from a handful to more than 50 in just 2 years. Donors get regular updates, graphs, maps, spots, and photos showing new campus flags, each one a small victory in a nationwide campaign. Student organizers become the movement's engine. They run meetings, recruit friends, and organize campus summits. Annual conferences in Chicago and Palm Beach attract thousands, offering networking, training sessions, and speeches from rising conservative stars. Kirk's own profile grows with each event. He's on cable news, hosting panels, and building a social media following in the hundreds of thousands. But the real power is in the numbers. Every new chapter means more boots on the ground, more content for the internet, more proof for donors that the movement is spreading. Behind the scenes, the operation is run like a startup. Fundraising calls are tracked in spreadsheets, chapter launches mapped in real time. Donor agreements come with key performance indicators: chapter counts, event attendance, online impressions. By the end of 2016, TPUSA is raising over $8 million a year. The group's footprint covers red states and blue states alike. For Kirk, the goal is always bigger: more chapters, larger crowds, a youth movement that can tip elections. The logistical machine is in place, and the country is starting to notice. By late 2016, Turning Point USA is no longer just a scrappy upstart. Its Professor Watchlist project, launched that November, publishes the names of faculty accused of discriminating against conservative students. The website draws millions of clicks in its first weeks. Critics say it's a blacklist, a tool for harassment, an open invitation for threats. Kirk insists it's about transparency. The backlash is immediate. Professors report hate mail, doxing, even death threats. National media outlets pick up the story. University administrators call emergency meetings. Civil liberties groups warn about the chilling effect on campus speech. But Kirk refuses to take the list down. He doubles down on interviews, saying sunlight is the best disinfectant. Inside TPUSA, the pressure mounts. Staffers field angry calls from parents and faculty. Some chapters lose access to campus spaces. Donors privately question the strategy, but public fundraising surges. The controversy only seems to feed the machine. Kirk's social media following explodes. Every cable news segment brings new supporters and new enemies. 2 years later, another firestorm. In 2019, rumors swirl about internal leaks. Allegations surface online, claims of staff sharing offensive memes in private group chats. Screenshots circulate on Twitter. Whistleblowers describe a frantic scramble inside TPUS. Crisis calls with PR consultants, rushed statements, and a handful of quiet dismissals. The organization denies any systemic problem, but the damage is done. Critics seize on the moment. Lawmakers and watchdog groups demand investigations. For Kirk, it's another test. He appears on talk radio, calling the leaks a smear campaign, but federal threat assessors start paying closer attention. The FBI sends advisories to campus police at several TPUSA events, warning of elevated risk due to online threats and counter-protest chatter. By 2020, security at Kirk's appearances is tight. Uniformed officers line the halls. Plainclothes guards mingle in the crowds. Event organizers monitor social media for signs of trouble. The atmosphere grows tense. At some stops, protesters and supporters are separated by barricades. Threat assessments become routine. For Kirk and his team, the message is clear. The movement's momentum comes at a cost. Every new controversy, every viral moment raises the stakes. The line between political battle and personal danger grows thinner with each campus tour. The American Comeback Tour is announced with fanfare. 20 stops, each one a battleground for the future of campus politics. The venues are chosen for their size and visibility, but also for the symbolic weight they carry. State universities, flagship colleges, places where ideological fights play out in real time. Advanced teams negotiate contracts, review layouts, and insist on strict crowd caps. At Utah Valley University, the final stop, the auditorium is set for 3,000, no more. Every attendee passes through metal detectors. Bags are searched, IDs checked, and plainclothes officers blend into the crowd. Campus police coordinate with private security, their radios buzzing with updates about protest plans and flagged social media posts. In the days before the Utah event, email chains circulate among administrators and student leaders. Anonymous threats arrive, some vague, some specific. Flyers appear on bulletin boards and bathroom stalls, calling for walkouts and disruptions. Local organizers map out protest zones, negotiating with the university to keep rival groups apart. The Q&A format, a staple of Kirk's tour, is kept intact despite warnings from security consultants. Staff debate shutting it down, but Kirk refuses. He tells his team, "We have to let them speak. That's the whole point." The atmosphere is electric, but brittle. Protesters gather outside, chanting and waving signs. Inside, students line up for the microphone, some eager to challenge, others to support. Security staff scan faces, watch for sudden movements, and monitor exits. Kirk moves through backstage corridors with his security detail, pausing for last-minute briefings. The mood is tense, but familiar. This is not the first time the team has prepared for hostility. Still, the warnings feel heavier now. Kirk's final message to his staff, sent hours before the event, is blunt. We must not back down, but we must be vigilant. The climate is dangerous. 12 minutes past noon, Utah Valley University's auditorium is packed. 3,000 people fill the seats, a restless mix of supporters, critics, and campus onlookers. Charlie Kirk stands at the podium, fielding a pointed question about mass shootings from a student protester. The exchange is tense, voices raised, security staff scanning the aisles. Then, without warning, a sharp crack cuts through the air. For a split second, the room is silent. Kirk drops behind the lectern, his microphone clattering to the floor. Panic erupts. Some in the crowd dive for cover, others freeze, staring at the stage. Security officers rush forward, waving people back, shouting for everyone to get down. A handful of students faint. Dozens press toward the exits, trampling folding chairs and dropping backpacks in their hurry to escape. Outside, campus police sprint toward the science building next door. Forensics will later confirm the shot came from its rooftop, 200 yards away, a single rifle round fired with a suppressor. On stage, EMTs kneel beside Kirk, working in a tight circle, voices urgent but controlled. Blood pools on the linoleum. A medic radios for immediate evacuation. Within minutes, Kirk is loaded onto a stretcher, his shirt soaked through. The ambulance pulls away as news helicopters circle overhead, capturing the chaos as it spills onto the quad. Eyewitnesses describe confusion, disbelief, and the sound of one clear gunshot. No second volley, no visible shooter. Social media lights up with shaky videos and frantic messages. University police lock down the campus, searching for the suspect. Inside the hospital, doctors work for nearly 20 minutes before pronouncing Kirk dead. The official confirmation comes just after 1:00 p.m. By then, the auditorium is empty, save for crime scene tape and scattered leaflets. Forensic analysts begin their sweep, collecting shell casings and mapping the trajectory from rooftop to podium. In less than an hour, the most visible face of youth conservatism is gone, and the country is left reeling. Within hours of the shooting, American flags across the country are ordered to half-mast. Statements pour in from both parties. Democrats and Republicans alike call for unity, denounce violence, and urge calm. The Turning Point USA board gathers in an emergency session, issuing a brief message. Charlie's vision will endure. Student organizers, some still in shock, set up candlelight vigils on dozens of campuses. At Utah Valley University, hundreds stand in silence on the quad, holding signs and flowers. Social media fills with tributes, hashtags, and raw disbelief. National news interrupts regular programming for wall-to-wall coverage. In Chicago, TPUSA's headquarters becomes a gathering place for staff and supporters, many too stunned to speak. For 2 days, the country watches as leaders mourn, students grieve, and a movement tries to find its footing after the unthinkable. Assassinations have always tested the strength of democracies. In 1963, a rifle shot in Dallas ended the presidency of John F. Kennedy and left the country searching for answers. The echoes of that day still linger, shaping how Americans view political violence. In 2017, a gunman opened fire at a congressional baseball practice in Virginia, wounding House Majority Whip Steve Scalise and reminding the nation that no side is immune. The shockwaves crossed oceans in 2022 when Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was gunned down during a campaign speech. Each of these moments forced a reckoning with the dangers of polarization and the vulnerability of public life. Historians and political scientists now place Charlie Kirk's murder in that same lineage, a warning that the boundaries of debate and dissent are never as secure as they seem. On September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was killed by a single rifle shot while addressing nearly 3,000 attendees at Utah Valley University. The investigation, documented in police and forensic reports, confirmed the shooter fired from a rooftop approximately 200 yards away. In the days that followed, the president ordered flags at half-mast, and bipartisan leaders publicly condemned the act. Despite extensive inquiry, authorities have not released a definitive motive, leaving key questions about intent and security unanswered. Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, continues to operate, though its future direction remains uncertain. This assassination joins a documented pattern of political violence in American history, as noted by historians citing parallels to events like the JFK assassination and the 2017 congressional baseball shooting. As of today, the case remains open. The facts are clear. The life and death of Charlie Kirk mark a turning point, underscoring the ongoing risks faced by public figures in a deeply polarized society.